Hey, friends and family, how y'all doing? It's Marquelon Sigler here with another edition of Marquelon's Movie Review. So, I'm gonna do a new series called, and I had a good name for this, y'all. So it's a new year, so I got a good name for this series, like old movies that look different now as an adult. So today I watched Old School, and I got on here the outrated, out of control edition. That's probably the best edition to watch. But I don't know what it was. I needed a good laugh, and I just was thinking about a scene from Old School, and I started watching this movie. Man, this movie is still hilarious. This movie came out in what 2000, and this movie is still hilarious. 26. I can't believe this movie is that old. Old School came out in 2000. Is that right? Let me look that up just to be on the safe side, y'all. Cause that seems like this movie is way too old, man. But that may be right, man. Let me look at it just to verify, y'all. I just want to make school. Old School. I just want to verify. It came out in 2003. So Old School is 23 years old now. But this movie is hilarious, y'all. But I looked at this movie, and as a grown up, I had to figure I'm gonna call this series. I probably when I actually post this video, I have the series title worked out. But like movies that you watch when you were a kid, but you look at differently as an adult. The movie is still funny, y'all. The movie is hilarious, y'all. For those of you who don't know, Old School is about these three guys who are friends. So you have Mitch, who's played by Luke Wilson, Frank, who's played by Will Ferrell, and Bernard or Beanie, who's played by Vince Vaughn. First of all, I'm gonna give credit to Vince Vaughn. You know, Will Ferrell's stand there, but I got credit for Vince Vaughn because Vince Vaughn is what makes this thing work. This is Swingers, and I think he got one other movie. I can think what it is right now. But Vince Vaughn is the kind of dude that you want to be your friend. If you're a man, this is the man you'll be your friend because he's determined to make sure that you have a good time, that you hook up with a lady. He is determined. He's going to make it happen. Now, selfishly, he's doing it for himself as well, but he's determined to make sure you have a good time. So basically, Luke Wilson, and Luke Wilson, really, I have to think about this because Luke Wilson, I think most recently I saw him on Stargirl. But Luke Wilson was like one of the hot young actors back then, I guess. And I was thinking about his range because he did this, he did Legally Blonde, but then he plays like totally, he's kind of the earnest kind of good guy in those movies. And then, then he plays like kind of the naive rookie in Blue Street with Martin Short. But then he plays Casey Kelso in that '70s show that was dating Donna, and that was hilarious. If y'all watch the '70s show, y'all know what I'm talking about. He was like, because Ashton Kutcher was Kelso, Michael Kelso. He was like Michael Kelso's older brother, who was like Kelso times 10. You know, it was just hilarious, y'all. So to see him playing this good guy role here, and the plot is for y'all who don't remember it is basically he's a lawyer. Mitch, Luke Wilson's character, is a lawyer, and he comes home to his girlfriend, who I think is who was his girlfriend? His girlfriend was actually somebody who was a big actress, Juliette Lewis. So Juliette Lewis is a big, young actress, kind of grew up on the screen. Was getting roles. I think she maybe was in her 20s then. I think most people know her now for like Yellowbirds on Showtime. That's what people know her for now. But Juliette Lewis was like really big in Cape Fear and in Natural Born Killers and stuff like that when I was like a little kid. But she's his girlfriend, Heidi, and he comes home early from a real estate conference. He's a real estate attorney, and he catches her like getting ready to do a gangbang orgy. So that's hilarious. And it's sad because, like, wait a minute, as an adult, like, this is messed up. But they play it for laughs. And the director, Todd Phillips, who most people know Todd Phillips now because he directed The Joker, the one with Joaquin Phoenix that won the Academy Award, or Joaquin Phoenix won the Academy Award. So, and this guy's gone on record and said, you can't make movies like this now. He said basically these movies, TikTok, Twitter, X, they would eat you alive making this kind of movie. He's right. There's a lot of allusions to stuff in here that you just can't say and do no more. And then you had, so he loses his girlfriend, and then next thing you see Frank, which is Will Ferrell, get married. And then you see Bean like, hey man, don't do it, Frank. Don't get married, Frank. You can still run, frankly. Don't do it. And he just had some great one-liners like, look at the baby, look at the baby. And as always, when you get married, look at the baby. He's like, I hate the baby. He's like, I hate the baby. I'm going to tell you something else, too. I think the version I watched of this was recently on Paramount Plus. I think it's been edited. Because there's lines in here I remember, but I didn't hear them. And this movie is controversial. I'm just going to be honest with y'all. So, Beanie throws... So, basically, Mitch, after he breaks up with Heidi, he has to get a house. He rents his house on the university campus. And, basically Mitch is like, hey, I'm not Mitch, Beanie honestly like, hey, man, we on campus. You smack dab on campus, man. We can kick it. So he owns like this this circuit, I'm going to call it Circuit City. This store franchise like Circuit City, which is now long and gone, called Speaker City. And he basically owns 6 of them. And he kind of finances their operation. And they throw this big party, invite Snoop Dogg, and they become like famous on campus. And so he comes with the idea of like, oh, they're going to kick him off campus. And Jeremy Piven from Entourage is in this too. Now, he's in a bad role because most people know him as Ari Gold from Entourage. But he's really like the villain, the antagonist in this movie. And it's weird because I think it was an older movie he's in called PCU. He was kind of more the protagonist, like, fighting against the university. And in this movie, he is the university. He wants to get him off campus. They come to this loophole. They open a fraternity. They can stay on campus. So they get fraternity, and they get a pledge class and rush. It is hilarious stuff they do, man. But I want to talk about the Mitchell. So, let me talk about the party where he throws a party for him. The party's called Mitchellpalooza. That's hilarious in of itself. And so Luke Wilson's character Mitch ends up hooking with this girl who's Eliza Cuthbert, who everybody know from like 24. That's when she got famous, was Jack Bauer's daughter on 24. Just always get kidnapped every year for a while. Then she joined CTU. So anyway, in this movie, they don't show it. Now, to be clear, they don't show it. They wake up the next morning, but she's in her underwear and stuff like that. And he's like, I'm going to go to class and stuff like that. I'm going to go to class. Said, okay. He's like, oh, I don't know how this works because, I hadn't done anything like this before. And so it's alluded they had relations. So he goes to work. Why this girl show up at his job and she's his boss's daughter? To make it worse, she's in high school. He was like, high school. He's like, high school. I remember when I saw this as a kid. He told his boy, Beanie, that, if it's, 17 is a total gray area. It's total gray area. Now, that's definitely not going to fly today. So I think they edited that line out the movie. And that part of the movie, it probably would be completely edited out. That would not fly today. And Frank has an alcohol problem. So as an adult, I realized Frank is an alcoholic. I wouldn't even call him a functional alcoholic, y'all. He's an alcoholic. And he's funny, he's funny because they give him this bong at the party. He's like, when he hits your lips, he's like, say, Frank the tank. But when he drink, he go from 0 to 60 real quick. So his alcoholism is funny. But then you realize, as an adult, you're like, man, I would not want to be Frank's friend, man, because Frank is going to get messed up everywhere you go and almost die or mess up your event or almost get you killed. But it's played for laughs here. So it's just weird how you look at these movies when you get it. They're funny, but then you look at like, man, that wouldn't work. Like, even when they pledge, they tie a cinder block to their penis and drop the 30-pound cinder block. Man, that will pull off somebody's stuff, man. And, and somebody's block goes down into a manhole and pulls them down. And I was like, it's funny, but I'm like, man, in real life, they might have permanently damaged that boy. He's been suing the hell out of that fraternity. So you see why fraternities like get in trouble all the time. They doing stuff they saw in these movies that you can't really do in real life because you'll get in trouble for doing that stuff. But I highly recommend this movie. I laughed at this movie so hard. I needed that laugh, man, in this movie. But you got to realize, especially you watch the unrated Out of Control edition, there's a lot of stuff going in here that's probably inappropriate by today's standards. And even the part with Blue dies, they have KY Jelly Wrestling. Y'all can imagine that. I mean, it's a good movie, y'all. It is good, but like I said, when I go back and look at it with quote unquote grown up eyes, I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't have done none of this stuff to get in this fraternity. I probably would have tried to do something like this, but nah, that ain't it, y'all. So anyway, this is Marquelon Sickler. Happy New Year, y'all. This is the new edition of Marquelon's Movie Reviews. This is that special show. I'm gonna call it Old Movies I'm Reviewing That Look Different as an Adult. I got a name for it. Y'all see the title. I'm gonna let y'all later. Let me know what y'all think about old school. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you share this video. Subscribe where you see this video at. And I'm gonna let y'all later. Peace.